Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Jon Finn and welcome to another episode of the Tougher Mind podcast. I'm just on my workstation treadmill, so whilst I go for a walk in my office space, I just wanted to record a quick podcast and reflect on some insights about the challenges that people are facing. I'm just going to get my treadmill up to a slightly higher pace here. So I'm walking at about 2.4 miles an hour. So we know that lots of people are really struggling at the moment with these extremely difficult lockdown circumstances that we're under. And that word resilience and mental resilience keeps coming back up. But I find that the term resilience and mental resilience can be a little bit woolly sometimes, a little bit not very specific. So I just wanted to reflect on what we understand by being resilient. And at the heart of the way that we understand this is our lighthouse brain model. So this is the way that we explain people's brain to them. And within this explanation, we can really understand what we mean by being resilient. So imagine that you have a lighthouse in your brain, and there are two characters that live in the lighthouse and run the lighthouse. The first character is called Hugh. That's spelled Hue, and Hugh stands for horribly unhelpful emotions. And Hugh lives in and works in the lighthouse's control room, and its job is to use the lighthouse's light to scan the horizon, and not just the present, but the past and the future. And what's Hugh's first instinct is to look out for threats and problems and issues and worries. And that could be things that have happened in the past, it could be things that are happening right now, but it's also projecting into the future to project almost the worst case scenario of what might happen. So it's making up problems, if you like. And once there are no obvious problems to pay attention to in the past, in the present, or the future, Hugh's next instinct is to look out for easy things to do, things that give it short-term gratification. So it could be eating a chocolate biscuit, or checking your social media, or breaking off the mentally complex task that you're doing to go look on a website and just give your brain something easier to do. It could be resisting doing exercise. It could be staying up later than you know is helpful, but you just want to watch that next episode of the series that you're watching. So that's what Hugh does. The second character in the lighthouse is called Wilhelmina Power, or Willpower. You can decide which one it is for you. And we imagine that Wilhelmina Power lives in the lighthouse's library, and it's interested in studying and learning about how to get better and the outside world and what's going on. And what happens when Hugh spots a problem? Could be a problem that's from the past, could be a problem that's in the future, it could be a problem that's projecting into the future. And when it sees a problem, it calls up to willpower, and it makes willpower aware. There's a problem, come down and help me. And what we're seeing actually here is called emotional regulation, but this is the metaphor that we're explaining it through. So willpower goes down, and it first of all can help you to understand, well, is this a problem or not? So is there really a tiger in the room with you, or is there an immediate problem that you need to resolve? Or is it actually just you making something up? And willpower is like Hugh's coach. It can help you to overcome the real problem if there is one. But if there's no problem, it can help you to reframe some of that unhelpful thinking, if you like, and to get Hugh's attention back onto something that's more helpful for you. And this is at the heart of what resilience is all about. When our brain is working properly, we can have a really good relationship between willpower and Hugh. And when we talk about resilience, what we mean is that it means that you're really good at recognizing if you're doing things or thinking about things that are not helpful for you. Could be beating yourself. It could be worrying. It could be eating the wrong kind of food. It could be not sleeping as well as you need to be. It could be not being as productive as you need to be. But it's just that understanding that I'm doing lots of things here that are not very helpful for me. It could just be one or two things. And then if you are resilient, you're good at getting your willpower, in this lighthouse brain metaphor we're using, to actually help you to do things and think about things that are more helpful for you being at your best. And that is at the heart of what we understand by being resilient. Neuroscientists call it emotional regulation. Social scientists call it self-control. And as I say, when everything's working well in your brain, there's a really good relationship between willpower and hue. But what's happened increasingly in the VUCA world, the volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous world, in these lockdown situations we're facing, is that it becomes more and more difficult to have a really good relationship between your willpower and hue. And that means that we need to be really proactive in training up our willpower to be a better coach to hue. And that's, of course, is what is at the heart of all our Tougher Minds training and programs. And one of the new programs we've created is the Me Power Resilience program. And that's a training program, if you like, for your willpower to make it easier to actually manage hue and build better habits. And at the absolute foundation of this relationship and the foundation of resilience, if we want to have this really positive relationship between our willpower and our hue, is good sleep, diet, and exercise habits. And we know that these have been really disrupted in this lockdown situation for many people. So I just want us to think very quickly and pragmatically, how can we start just to get our sleep, our diet, and our exercise habits back on track? And these ideas I'm going to take are from the sleep, diet, and exercise masterclass from the Me Power Resilience program. And the first thing that we would suggest that you do is that you just step back and use your willpower to do this, and just reflect on your sleep, your diet, your exercise, and give yourself a score out of 10 for each area over the past 24 hours. So 10 would be perfect sleep. 1 would mean you didn't sleep at all. So you give yourself a score out of 10 for your sleep last night. You give yourself a score out of 10 for your diet either yesterday or so far today, whatever's easier. And you give yourself a score out of 10 for your exercise either yesterday or so far today. Remember, in exercise terms, walking is included in exercise. It's not just going and doing vigorous exercise or going for a run or going to the gym. Walking's included. That's what I'm doing right now to top up my exercise. And this is what we call intelligent self-watching. So we should have a score for our sleep, a score for our diet, and a score for our exercise. And this is the first step to starting to build new habits in these areas and build a better relationship between willpower and hue. The next thing to do is just to target one of those areas. We might like to work on all of them at the same time, but that's not possible. So we can just pick one. Often we fall into this trap of trying to make changes that are too big, that are too ambitious. So we're just looking to make tiny changes. So just pick the one area, either your sleep, your diet, or your exercise, where you think, yeah, that's the priority for me at the moment. So, for example, I'm going to pick my sleep, and I'm going to say that, imagine that I gave myself a 7 out of 10 for my sleep last night. My aim tonight is just to get 5 or 10 minutes more sleep tonight than I did last night. And that's it. And maybe I can get an extra half an hour sleep. Maybe I could get an even extra hour's sleep. And if I do that, that's a bonus, that's great. But I'm just aiming for an extra 5 or 10. If I'm working on my diet, I might just look to eat one more piece or portion of fruit or veg today than I did yesterday. And maybe I could easily do 3, but that's great if I can. I'm just going for the 1. And for my exercise, if it was an exercise area I wanted to work on, then maybe I just want to do an extra 10 minutes more walking today than I did yesterday. So what we've done is we've set we've self-watched by giving ourselves those scores, and we've done some intelligent self-watching. Then we've just created an aim of what we'd like to achieve in the next 24 hours. The final thing we need to do is create a plan. So my plan for my improved sleep will be, I'm going to be in bed by this time. I'm going to make sure that I've turned off all my handheld technology about an hour before that, because I don't want to be looking into those light sources like from my phone or my laptop or my tablet that basically tell my brain not to release melatonin. And then I might say what I'm going to be doing when I get into bed at 10 o'clock, for example. I'm going to be reading my book. And there might be some parts of my plan. We know that making a plan that's going to actually allow us to make a positive change, is the most difficult piece. And again, that's why we've created the in-depth Me Power Resilience program. But what I've just described there are some big ideas from the sleep, diet and exercise masterclass. And I've started to introduce one of our tools there. It's called the 1 week sleep, diet and exercise SWOT plan, because we self-watch, we make an aim and we make a plan. So this idea of scoring yourself out of 10 for each area, making an aim and then making a plan, you can do that for the next 5 or 7 days, and you'll quickly start to notice some little wins and some positive change in your behaviour. And if you don't have the Me Power Resilience program, you can also, for completely free, you can access the Me Power Resilience Planner. And although it doesn't contain the 1 week sleep, diet and exercise plan, it's got some other tools in there that make it easier to start planning out some of these fundamental things that are going to make it easier for us to be resilient. So I hope that helps you to get a better understanding of what resilience is. And I hope it's helped you to start, if you want to be more resilient, to start making some positive steps that are simple and practical, that are going to actually allow you to be at your best more often. So thanks for listening, guys. Looking forward to the next podcast. And here's the core idea. We're never going to be perfect in these areas. It's always about just stepping back, reflecting, and making one tiny aim, just to make it a little bit easier for us to be at our best more often. And that's all we can do, is we can work towards our best by holding ourselves accountable for being at our best. So I hope that's really helpful, guys. Thanks for listening, and I'll speak to you soon. Remember, you can access the Me Power Resilience Planner absolutely free. Just check it out on our website. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the day.